everybody and welcome to Hannah's Happy Space. My name is Hannah and you join me here in my happy space surrounded by crafty goodness. Now my happy space is here at home in Oakhampton, which is a town in Devon in the southwest of England, right on the edge of Dartmoor. I live with my brother Dominic, my sister Cara and her son Sebi. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, you'll have heard me speak about those people before, and you may even, if you watched Vlogmas, have seen Cara and Dominic, and Sebi has appeared in a couple of podcasts as well. So today is, just been trying to work out, Saturday the 19th of February, that's what I'm going to go with. Hopefully that is right. Like a lot of people in the UK at the moment, we are experiencing a few storms. I've got to say, down here in Oakhampton, we've been really lucky. There have been other places in Oakie that have got power cuts, lots of trees down. Where we live, we have been fine. So fingers crossed that continues that way. Hopefully everybody else out there, you're staying safe as best that you can. I know lots of people have experienced, like I say, power cuts and water shortages and all sorts. So yeah, things don't seem to let up, do they? So hopefully that one will not last for too much longer. So like I say, I hope you're all well. And hopefully if you have been, stuck at home, you've been able to get on with some crafting. If now with the weekend, you've probably got a little bit more time. We had a homeschooling day on Friday. Sebi's school was closed. He goes to a little village school, and they had said, well, even before some of the big schools had closed, they would be closing because lots of the teachers were unable to get in. They were worried about power outs and that kind of thing. So we had homeschool just for one day, but it was a full day of learning for Sebi. He was not best impressed. Home is not for schoolwork, it's for having a bit more fun. But he was very good. We did, what did we do? We did maths, we did English, and RE. So he had a full day of learning and was very happy when it was all over. He has gone away for half-term week now, so he's away for a little while. He'll be back. He has been asking when he will feature in another podcast, so you never know, you might see him again soon. Okay, I think that might be all the life updates, if you like. I can't think of anything else to let you know about apart from what I've been up to craft-wise. Now, I was planning on doing a podcast anyway. Like I said to you last time, if you watched, I was going to try and be a little bit more regular in my podcasting. But I have had a little look on my calendar, online, all those kind of things. And I was reminded actually by watching my lovely friend Ruth. Hi, Ruth. Ruth loves to knit. You'll hear me speak about her often. She just happens to be a very nice person. And if you watch Ruth, you'll probably hear her mention me once or twice. I think it's going to become a little bit of a competition. Who can mention the other person the most, or who can get their name in the quickest? However, yes, Ruth had a 1-year Podiversary a couple of weeks ago now. So I thought, I know I started not long after Ruth, so mine must be coming up. And it is tomorrow on Sunday. Will be my first year Podiversary. So we've been going for a whole year now. Thank you so much to those who have been here from the beginning, and also thank you to all of those that have joined throughout the journey. I hope you're still enjoying watching the podcast, enjoy seeing what I'm getting up to. I am still enjoying doing the podcasting. However, I was just before coming on to film, always write my notes and say what I've been up to, and I thought to myself, well, I haven't achieved much this, what's it been, nearly 3 weeks maybe, and I know I've heard other podcasters say it to try not to put pressure on themselves, because they think, oh well, I'm going to be on podcast, I want to be able to show people what I've been doing. It doesn't mean I have to have made something every time I podcast. It doesn't mean I have to have finished all the things I showed you last time. I have got some finished whips that I will be sharing with you, and some ongoing whips as well. So hopefully that's okay. So that is the one thing I just need to remind myself is it's okay not to have finished everything each time I speak to you. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about the 1 year anniversary later on in the podcast. However, we shall get on with what I have been up to. If you see me looking around, it's because I've got different project bags and different projects and things scattered around me, and my notes are about. So if you wonder what I'm looking at, that's what's going on. Okay, let's start with some finished objects. Now these are both finished objects that I had started when I spoke to you guys last. I was maybe halfway through them, something like that. They're both finished items now, so you'll recognise them from last time if you were watching. We will start with this one. Is the simple yet effective cowl from Tin Can Knits. I'll just hold it there. That is, if I get it a little bit closer, it's gone. I didn't block this one, I have to say. It came off the needles, and somebody, Cara, oh, that's nice. Who's that for? Would you like it, Cara? So Cara's taken this one, and to be honest, she has worn it lots, so that's okay. If I hold it up a little bit closer to the camera, you'll be able to see a bit more of the colours. Like I say, the weather isn't great here. The colour isn't too bad. Hopefully we'll be able to see what I've been up to. So it's a really simple pattern, like it says, simple yet effective. It was from Ravelry. It was a free download. Really, like I say, really simple. I did make a few adjustments. Not that there's a lot to adjust. I've done it on a slightly bigger needle than recommended because I wanted a slightly looser fabric, and I cast on a few more stitches because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, and I think I even did a little bit more length, only because I was using 2 balls of 4-ply, so 200-gram balls of 4-ply that I was knitting double, so I had more yarn than it suggested in the pattern, so I just kept going and thought, well, that's a fairly good length that I'll stick with. You can see it's got the stockingette panels and garter panels, and that's been knitted in the round on circular needles. Like I say, I used bigger needles. I went for 5mm 40 centimetre on a 40 centimetre cable. Yeah, that's right, Knit Pro Symphonies I used for that. So that is my first very quick, very effective cowl. I did mention last time that I was enjoying knitting 2 strands of 4-ply together to make a double knit yarn, weight of yarn. These were similar but slightly different balls of yarn, and I can't remember who they were from. They've been in my stash for ages. I think I explained last time that they had once been a crocheted shawl that I didn't like and ripped out and used for this. Like I say, it's been worn and enjoyed. I think I will probably make my own at some point, as it was supposed to be for me. Not that I'm in a rush, as I've got a fair few different knitted garments for wearing around my neck. So, simple yet effective cowl from Tin Can Knits. Okay, put that one back over there. The next one is my only other finished object for this week. Just have a sip of water. Okay, I showed you this one last time as well. This is the, try not to knock everything over, the Sun and Soul wrap from Neilan. And I think this is where the enjoyment of knitting 2 4-ply yarns together has come from. I've done a fair few of her patterns now, Tiff Neilan, again, influenced by Ruth. One of the shawls that I've made from her before was the Artist Garden blanket. I can't remember if it's a blanket, so it's blanket shawl, blanket wrap, something like that. It is on one of my previous podcasts if you want to have a look, if you haven't seen that one before. And that is knit double, and is one of my favourites. So, and I'm really enjoying these patterns. I have another Tiff Neilan whip to show you, and plans to cast on another of her patterns as well. So this is the Sun and Soul wrap. Make sure I've got it the right way around so you can see the stitches. It's quite a big one, so what I will do is try and take some photos, put them on Instagram. I've been quite haven't been on Instagram posting that much recently. Need to get back into it so those people can see what I've been up to as well. I know not everybody who watches the podcast is on Instagram, so I will try and get some photos and put them on the screen after I finish talking about them. See, no, I can't fit it all in. Ooh, just so you can have a rough idea of what the colours are. I'll go through it a little bit closer up. Really bouncy, squishy shawl. I love the fabric that you can get from knitting double. Makes a really nice sort of drapey, soft and squishy fabric. So if I start, this is the cast on end. Won't tell you too much, obviously it's a free paid for pattern, but there's lots of different texture to this. It's going to be tricky to show you. So I planned the fade. The pattern actually suggests to use one colour throughout as one of your double strands and add to it for the different sections. I've used leftovers and scraps and minis for this one, so I just planned ahead what I would use. So I've gone from green, and then introducing some yellow, then through yellows through to oranges. Okay. Trying to juggle it, and then oranges through to pink, and then you've got this edge, which I haven't done before. That is a picot bind off. Try and lay it flat so you can see. I haven't blocked this one, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I am going to block it. It's a really, like I say, big shawl, and I really like the feel of how it is at the moment, and I'm worried if I block it, it might lose some of its bounce. And it's quite a simple shape, so I'm not sure it really needs it. I'm very pleased with this one. I haven't worn it yet, but now I've shown you all, I think I will try and wear it out. So that is the Sun and Soul wrap from Tiff Neilan. Yeah, a favourite, I think, so far this year. Okay. Ooh, fluff going everywhere. Show you those colours a little bit more. And I'm, like I say, because it's two strands all together, held together, sorry, you get all this really amazing colour mixing that you don't have to think about. If you're not, some people struggle with colour, and I think this is a really good way to experiment with colours and find out how things go together. So that is that one. Like I say, those are the only two finished objects that I've got for this time, but I have got some whips to show you. So pop that one to one side. So if you've watched before, you'll know I am an avid sock knitter. I use a basic sock pattern from the Winwick mum. She has a sock along pattern blog, all free. And that's what I learned to knit socks on. That's what I stick with for my vanilla socks, if you like, basic socks. And they are a top-down sock, so cuff through down to toe. They are knitted, well, I knit them on mini circulars, 9-inch circulars. I use normally high-hires for that. Sometimes Knit Pro, Symphonies or Zings. I've got a couple of those. Like I say, knit from the top down. They have a heel flap and a heel flap, heel turn and gusset, and they have a wedge toe, and then so that means they need Kitchener stitching at the end, and I find that they are a very good fit for me, and I don't have to think about the pattern when I'm doing them. So if I knit socks for other people, I generally use that pattern as well. Adjusting, what I tend to do is adjust the length of the heel flap depending on people's size feet that I'm doing. So for example, if I'm knitting a pair of socks for Dominic, which I am at the moment, he has somewhere between a size 13 and 14 feet, but he has a very wide foot, so adding length to that heel flap gives you more stitches when you pick up the gusset. So that accommodates the wider foot. I also cast on more stitches for a larger sock. So for myself, I'll cast on 60 stitches. I'm a size 8. That fits me fine. And I do just over a 2-inch heel flap for me. And then like for a larger size, like I've knit for Dom, or for Harry, my other brother Harry, he's got size 10 feet. They generally have about 72 stitch cast on. That's for a 4-ply sock, and a 2.5-inch heel flap, that kind of thing. If you haven't tried knitting socks before, I would highly recommend heading over to Winwick Mum. I'll put the details in the box below. I think they're normally in the box below on most of my episodes, because I am usually got socks on the go. I keep a pair in my handbag. I've always got a pair in a project bag at home. I go to a knit club and I generally knit socks there because, like I said, I don't have to think about the pattern and I can chat at the same time. I work in my local yarn shop in Oakhampton in the Woolly Beader, and as you know, they're very compact, easy to travel with. Quite often I'm knitting socks in the shop as well. So yeah, trying socks for the first time, definitely would recommend her pattern. Like I say, it's free. She has blog posts, you can buy a book, everything in so much detail, really, really good. And you can knit those on mini circulars like I've got, and I'll show you shortly. You can knit them on a magic loop that I've never tried. Probably something I will have a go at some point, because it can be useful for knitting other things in the round. And the third option are DPNs. To me, that is some kind of wizardry. I have never tried them. Looks far too complicated. I know other people love them, but it's just not something that I'm interested in doing when I can achieve what I want to on my mini circulars. And again, you can do 4-ply socks, double knit socks, Aran weight socks, whatever you fancy giving a go at. I don't know if I've sort of maybe said this way back at the beginning, that when I learnt to knit, I knit a scarf, I knit a hat, a pair of wrist warmers, flat, and sewed them up. Then I learned to knit socks. Friend taught me to do that. So, you know, I think if you've got the basic skills and patience to either, you know, head over to the blogs, YouTube, or if you've got a lovely friend that is willing to talk you through these things, definitely worth a go. So after all that waffle, about socks, who thought you could wax lyrical about socks, I will show you what I'm up to. They're all vanilla socks, so basic socks. No, that means no pattern to them. And the first pair are housed in my lovely spotty bag, which was a gift from the very lovely Jeanette from Crafty Clegs Creations. And the first, oh, closed it again now. The first pair of socks are knitted in this colourway. Whoop. Oh, the stitch marker stuck in there. So this is the first colourway. So it's got navy, light blue, red, bit of black. Obviously that's been caked up from a skein. This is a hand dyed yarn from Siobhan's Crafts. And this colourway is actually part of, I think she did it for, wasn't last year, but the 2 years before, did a monthly, wasn't a subscription, but a monthly theme club, which was Disney. And this particular month was, I don't know if I can, oh yeah, Mulan. Doesn't help you there because it's a black and white photo, but I'm sure if there are people out there who know who Mulan is, if you don't, pop her into Google, other search engines are available, and really accurate representation. And the thing with, I should have taken a picture or done something to show you what this skein looked like. Obviously this has been caked up from the skein, but when they're wound, do I have, so, ooh, obviously this isn't a Disney or the colour that I've used. This is what the skein would look like. So when they were dyed, it was like the top part here would be the colour of the hair, then the skin, and then going through to the clothes. So it was in the hank, looked like the body of the character was going to be. So you never really are sure what these socks, how they're going to knit up, and they will look different depending on how many stitches you cast on, what size needles you use. Oh dear. Just one moment while I untangle these. That's where I've wrapped the ends around. So these are pretty much done. I've got a pair of socks. As you can see, there are still needles attached. These just need kitchenering and the end sewing in. So this is the first sock. So you can see the colours have kind of spiraled. And obviously there's a difference when you get to your heel and your gusset. So you've got like a big black patch here and then sort of the navy here, because just the number of stitches change. And then the foot portion of the sock is a bit more similar to what's going on up here, spiraling around, but obviously the colours, positioning of the colours move as your number of stitches increase and decrease. This is the second sock, which I'll show you first. So you've got that spiraling effect, but wider bands almost. Again, you've got that sort of pooling on the gusset. And then back to the sort of spiraling on the toe. But if I put them both together, considering they are both knit on the same size needles with the same number of stitches, obviously where you start in the ball makes a difference. So they are, they go together, they're the same colour, but they're not matching. I am not bothered about matching my socks. I know a lot of people like to get them paired, absolutely fine. I am not worried about that. And one of the reasons being I'd have to waste some yarn to try and find the matching, you know, start point, which really wouldn't be a lot of yarn to waste. I'd probably say it's more like laziness to try and find the next part. But yes, so I haven't weighed these actually. Like I said, I'm a size 8, and I've got a fair amount left. I will probably be able to get another pair of these, possibly not another full-sized size 8 pair, like a matching pair for these, but a different size. I might be able to get a smaller pair, or if I wanted to, I could do contrast, because I have got in this bag, I had found when I was obviously planning, just a ball of Drops Fable, which is Drops sock yarn, I can think of the word, 50 gram ball. Really, these are great for this kind of thing. If you haven't got hand dyed yarns, or if you just want a small amount, really affordable. But I must have thought I could pick out the red from this with this. It is starting to go a little bit dark here, so the colours aren't great. However, I have been in discussions with my mum, who also is a knitter, and I'm knitting a pair of socks. I'll show you in a minute. I know she will really like the yarn and it won't use it, so I think we're going to start doing a little bit of a swap, that if we're using a colour that each other like, what's left over we'll trade for something else. And she has only size 6 feet, so she uses less yarn. Probably shouldn't say that on here, because she watches the podcast and then she'll realise she's getting the not so fair end of the deal perhaps. But that is those first pair of socks. I will Kitchener those up and take a photo of them. Probably won't be on this podcast now. I'll pop it over on Instagram. But yeah, they are pretty much done. Okay, second pair of socks that I'm working on, I've already mentioned in my Harry Potter bag. I really should check these bags before I, oh no, not too bad, before I come onto camera, because they're normally in some sort of tangled mess. Okay, these are socks for Dominic. They are around a size 13, 14-ish, 72 stitch cast on. And these, I went and had a route through my sock yarn basket with all my leftovers in, and has picked out what he liked the look of. I think I've put one of the other balls somewhere else. So we've chose 2 colours. First off, this bright green. This is a West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply sock yarn in Sour Apple. And to go with that, I'll show you the actual sock in a minute, so you'll see what else. And then this one is, got it written down, it is Cole Zig Zag in Blue Grass. I'm not sure if they still do this one. Got this quite a while ago. And it's in this little ball because I wasn't sure how much yarn I would need. So what I did have left over, I think was something like 44 grams, something like that. Split that into 2 equal balls and thought, well, I'll just knit until it runs out, and then if I need to do contrasts, I've got the green. So if I show you, I've got one that's finished that needs Kitchenering up, so you'll be able to see what this one looks like. So I've gone for green on the cuffs. That's how the Cole yarn works up in stripes. So I managed to, I actually could have gone a bit further. Great big socks, these ones. Okay. I could have gone further down the toe, but I wasn't sure when it would run out. So to make sure the toe was all one colour, went for the green again. So that is the first sock, like you can see, like I was waffling about earlier. It's a much longer heel flap for Dom. So that's one sock done. And luckily it's just round and round knitting, and I don't have to concentrate on anything complicated, so I can do these whilst, like I say, I'm at knit club or watching the TV, and then they get done as they get done. The second sock is well on the way, and this is on just getting on to the heel flap. So again, done the cuff, and the leg of the sock, he only has a short leg. And then we have got the start of the heel flap. So I've picked up gone over onto DPNs to do my heel flap. This, for those of you who might not know, is the 9-inch circular. That's a bamboo higher. So that stays on whilst I'm working on the heel flap. So I'm hoping these aren't going to take too much longer. The heel flap and then like the picking up does take slightly more concentration than obviously the round and round knitting, but because I've done it a fair few times now, it's quite simple for me to just get on with it and get those finished. So that is 1.5-ish socks ready for Dom. So that's those ones. And then my last pair of socks that I'm working on are for me. Whoop. And they are over here. This is a yarn that I have had in my stash for years. I mean, sort of maybe probably 4 or 5 years, something like that. And it's so old actually that I have got the ball band somewhere, I'm not sure when. It's another yarn from Siobhan's Crafts. It's her old paper original ball band. So that shows its age a little bit. So the first colour the main colour that I'm using is, oh, you can see the sparkle. This is Denim Rainbow. And that's why it's been in my stash for so long, because it says sparkly hand-dyed, that I bought back when I didn't buy a lot of hand-dyed. And obviously I had coveted it and thought, oh, I'll find a really special project for that. And you might think now, oh, she's using it for socks, but it's better to be knit into socks that I'm going to wear lots and lots and be sat in a bag for years. So that's the main colour, and I'm teaming this up with some green. Whoop. And you'll know I like my neons if you've watched before. This I have used before, you might recognise this. This is a yarn from Dyed It in the Wool, Ellie over at Dyed in the Wool, and is called Roots Radical. And I used this for my Klein shawl, which I did back in, was it September time? Because it was for Ruth and Fernanda from Little Monkeys and Me. They did a make along push across the pond shawl. Okay, so those are the colours I'm using. This is the yarn that I am planning on sharing with Mum. If you can hear lots of banging and clomping, that's Dominic coming down the stairs. Sorry about that. So I shall show you where I've got to on the sock. I've just on the leg, done the leg as long as I want it, and I'm going to be going on to the heel flap. Now this yarn's coming out really nice with this spiral of colour. Lots of glitter. There we go. So that's it. That's the sock portion of today's podcast. 3 pairs at the moment. Okay, let's move on to, here it is down here. Now just a moment, because I'll have to bend down to pick it up, and there's lots of balls of wool attached to it. This is another Tiff Neilan design, and this one is called Seasons of Love, and I'm using this as a stash buster project. So as you can see, ooh, she says, I've got 4 balls of yarn on the go, This one is knitted, again, holding 2 4-plies together, but you knit from both sides. Sorry about that. That was Dominic just coming in, just going out. So let's get back to what I was showing you. Okay, Seasons of Love, Tiff Neilan, double 4-ply, back and forth. And this is quite a simple shaped shawl. It's a asymmetrical triangle, I think is the plan. That's where it's headed. And again, this is going to be tricky to show because it's big already. And if I'm honest with you, there is some ripping to be done, I think. I'll show you that when I get there. Okay, so down at the cast on end, like I say, I am using this as a stash buster project. So I went through all my hand dyed 4-ply yarns and picked out all the bits that were about 10-ish grams or less, because I had quite a few 5-gram minis from Cuddlebums yarns from her Fiver Friday, and I really didn't know what to do with them, so they have gone in amongst here. So I'm going to show you, it's probably easier to show you, I'll show you the cast on end, but it's upside down just so it's easier for me to show you. So, and there are lots of ends waiting to be sewn in. They are partially sort of weaved in as I've gone. Hopefully you'll be able to see the colours here. So I have just put my hand in the bag and picked out at random any colour. They've all been in the bag together. So like we can start here, we've got sort of paler colours, lots of texture. Moving through, things get brighter. Bits are darker, it's all sorts of colours in here. Okay. Maybe hold it back, there we go. So that is the bulk of it. Let's see if I can show you. There we go. It looks a bit paler there, like I say, the light's going a bit now. But when we get up here, the pattern, stitch pattern changes with a bit more texture. And I have merrily been knitting along and have knitted the pattern wrong. And my dilemma is, so there, it should be, see, you can sort of see it's like coming up as like a rib. It's quite hard to show. And mine isn't matching in any way, but it's supposed to be alternate so that it doesn't line up. So it's more, I don't really know how to describe it, like you do a moss stitch, but as a rib stitch. I'm not sure. But because there's so much colour and so much going on, does it matter? Plus, I don't even know if I'm keeping this for me. I've got a feeling, can't I, in that bit? So what do I do? But also, when more I look at it, I think I don't like that patch of colour. Dilemmas. What would you do? Tell me in the box below. Would you rip back, so it would be back to here? Quite a lot, actually, isn't it? Or would you just keep going? Not follow the pattern and just see what happens? I don't know. We're starting to decrease now, so we're going down. So it's a fair chunk still to go. I'm not 100% sure what to do with that, and that is why it has been pushed to one side and other things have been cast on. So yeah, loving this end, all going well. Problems up this end, what to do? Yeah, tell me what you would do. Help. It will get finished, definitely. I've still got scraps to go in there, so that will get done. Okay, let's keep going. Actually, this is the last knitting width that I've got, and I only cast this on yesterday. So, and I can't put it down really. Been really, any moment I've been having a go at it, and I thought it was a lovely thing to share with you, because had you joined me on the very first podcast, I told you about my love of Stephen West knits, done lots of his shawls, I've done some of his Penguino cardigans, and at that time he had just released a pattern called Painting Honeycombs cardigan, and I was definite that I was going to do it, and I was going to start collecting yarns. And then throughout some of the podcasts I showed you a selection of yarns that I had collected from Miriam over at the Discreet Unicorn, hand-dyed yarns. And everybody, to celebrate the first anniversary of the Hannah's Happy Space podcast, I have cast on the Painting Honeycombs cardigan. Just excuse me while I grab it. So you're going to expect, big things here. I haven't done that much. So it starts on the shoulder. And if you've seen any of Stephen's patterns, you probably know the painting series, and these are the honeycombs. This is the honeycombs actually featured in the Winter Light shawl of his that I did, and something, Slipstravaganza that I completed not too long ago. They were stripy honeycombs. This is the start. Like I say, I like a neon. Those colours are showing up pretty well actually. I'll show them a little bit closer up. But like I say, this is the shoulder where you start. So I've got, I think, as long as I'm correct, it goes like this. And I've got one more repeat to do on this before I pop it onto some waste yarn or a spare cable and go on to the next piece. Show you a bit closer up the honeycomb pattern, and it knits up so quickly because of all the slip stitching. So these are the different colours. I'll go through the hand-dyeds first. So first of all, she says, trying to remember what they're all called. So we've got Sea Dragon, Flash of Light, Ultraviolet, Sea Glass, Princess, Enchanted Forest, Flash of Light again, Water Sprite, Pink Lemonade, and can I get that? Yeah, Starbreaker. That's this pinky purple colour here. So those are the different colours I've gone for the honeycombs. So that's the majority. Some of these are majority of these are just 20 gram skeins, so they will do the colour pops. The ultraviolet and the pink lemonade I've got 100 grams of, because there are extra bits of colour in the pattern. I'm really pleased with it. I think I'm gonna love it, I hope, when it's all done. Colours aren't, I mean, they look bright, but they are much brighter. I'm not sure. I've got the wool here. Don't know if it's going to look much different in the balls. I will show you briefly. So that's the Sea Dragon. Yeah, it's a lot. That's showing very blue. It's quite green. I might have to take a photo and pop them in. That's the Starbreaker, just so you can see that a little bit better. Yeah, I'll take a photo of them, I think, and pop them on. The main colour that I have used, so you've got the outlines for the honeycombs. There is some plain panels back and front, and there's some striped panels, and I have gone for a commercial yarn because I'm doing the largest size. There's the small, medium or large. I'm doing the largest size, so doing it all in hand dyed yarns was out of my price range, so I have gone for James C. Brett DK with merino, whoop, in 2 shades of grey. So they are, the dark one is DM23 and the light one is DM10. They are super soft. I've used this yarn before for some other projects. It is 70% acrylic, 20% siliconized soft polyamide and 10% merino wool. So it's not a huge amount of merino in there to be called a merino. I suppose, I don't know what you've got to have included in it, but like I say, super soft. Gauge is working perfectly with my hand dyes. Those from the Discreet Unicorn, like I say, are on a double knit 100% superwash merino base. So that is the start. I'm going to get moving on this. Again, I will show you ends, but the I don't know if you can see that one. You can sort of see a bit. You weave as you go. The weaving Stephen technique that he has on YouTube. So you can sort of knit over some of it, and I will fix it in with a needle as well, just to make sure it's extra secure. So that is the long-awaited painting Honeycombs cardigan. Okay, one more. Gosh, if you're still with me, thank you. We're getting on a bit, aren't we? Last whip to show you is not yarn based at all. It is a cross stitch that I'll just show you briefly. I don't know if many other people here cross stitch. If you're here for the yarn, skip on, not a problem. But I did mention it to you last time. Leaning forward again, sorry. Did mention that I bought one last time. I have obviously made a start on it, and this is, what's it called? This is a DMC Threads kit, came in kit form, and it is called Botanical Desert, and it's by a designer called Emily Peacock, and it's on a navy blue Ada. That's the name of the fabric that cross stitch is done on, and there we go. There's 2 more plants to go down here, and there's lots more detail to be done. This middle plant isn't finished here, but the cross stitching is done on a lot of them. Once all the cross stitching is done, there's a lot of detail put onto these ones with so like this one here will be outlined with a back stitch, and this one here, I think it's a banana tree, where these vines hang down, have lots of French knots either side, so there's lots of extra details to be done on there. It's obviously a slower project than knitting or crochet, possibly for some people, but I really enjoy it. I haven't done any for quite a while. Just fancied having a little go, and it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. Obviously I did not read the information correctly. Not too big though. Obviously there's lots of space in between, so it's not like it's one massive picture, and probably, as long as I'm happy with it at the end, it'll be framed and go up on the wall. So that is that. And I thought I'd just briefly show you, I use a gold plated cross stitch needle. I have a metal allergy, so I can't use cheaper sewing needles for a long time. I'll come out in a rash. I've bought gold needles in the past and have worn the gold off and ended up with the allergic reaction again. This one is from, now I need to make sure I say the right person, because I've said Greenhouse before, and that's the lady who knits the clowns. Greenoff, Jane Greenoff, I think that's right. I will put the link in below. She's the Cross Stitching Guild, and these are like guaranteed gold plated needles. that you will never be able to wear the gold away. If you do, she'll replace them. So if you're a cross stitcher and you fancy treating yourself, they weren't very expensive actually, they were a gift, but definitely recommend those. And also one little extra that I use is this Thread Magic. Now this is I guess a substitute for some people who sew or cross stitchers might know that you can condition your threads with beeswax, and it helps to, makes it easier to thread your needle, and it makes it easier to for the thread to glide through your fabric. It also means it's less likely to knot up. This is a synthetic, I guess. It's sort of it looks like it should be really squishy, but it's not. It's I don't know, sort of like a rubber and a razor, and you drag through, drag your thread through, that conditions your threads, but it won't melt and it won't freeze. So that is one little handy, I use that as well for EPP. So that's a really good little extra if anybody is interested. Right. Oh, okay. Finished objects done, works in progress done. I have got a couple of little other bits to show you very quickly. Last time I was on, I think I said to you guys that I was planning on doing some yarn dyeing, which I did get round to. I bought myself some undyed yarn for a particular project. I bought two 200-gram, that's right, two 200 skeins of double knit superwash merino from Cowl. So 2 big hanks. I have to be honest, I probably won't be buying this again. And when I've dyed yarn before, I've used skeins of 100 grams or smaller. 200 grams is a lot to dye in one go. And I also had to split one of them because of the particular project I was doing. I didn't need 200 grams of each colour. However, the skeins were very unruly. I put them on a Swift and then wound off what I wanted. And they were all back and forth on themselves or twiddled up. Wasn't great. It did take me quite some time to sort that out. And luckily I did, because had I been wanting to had I been wanting to dye a repeating pattern in yarn, it wouldn't have happened. So just in case, I don't mean other people might have had much more successful experiences with it. I'm not, I'm not a professional dyer at all. The actual yarn itself is fine. I haven't knit with it yet, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be fine. So I have dyed up some yarns. So the 200 grams that I dyed, try not to knock it all over, is this pink colour. Oh, that looks massive. I suppose it is, big as my head. Not, again, showing up exactly, but this is a tonal pink, bright pink, some darker and bright patches. So that's the main colour for the project, and that will be joined by this yellow. That's looking brighter than it should do. It's definitely more of a gold yellow. No blocking is going to help that. So those two will be going together, and they will become a Tiff Neilan shawl. I blame you, Ruth. I blame you. This will become the Break in the Tide. I will pop a picture up so you can see what it is going to be, and that will be cast on at some point. So that is that one. I did dye some other yarns while I was going. This is actually what was left over from that yellow. So that just went in, and to be honest, I just mixed up colours and plopped them in. These weren't any patterns or anything like that. These are all just tonals. I've also done some over dyeing. So that is yarns that we had dyed a long time ago that, you know, weren't that interesting, weren't that special. So now we've got more professional dyes. So we've got some over dyes, like this one started off as a pale pink and purple. This one started off brown, and it's more of a, it's purplier than that. So then we've got two different blues, and these started off, you can see sort of some yellow creeping through there. This one was blue and yellow. I think this one was blue and green. And then two orangey bases. This one was a multicoloured speckle, red, green and yellow speckle. And this was a yellowy orange affair. So these will be tucked away, I'm sure, into stash for future projects. We have got more dyed yarn that I'm planning on over dyeing. Probably might end up in the Woolly Beader in the shop that I work in, possibly on Instagram. If people want to pick them up, they are more than welcome to. Who knows? I do love dyeing yarn, I do enjoy doing it, but obviously the market out there for hand dyers is enormous, so who knows, it might be something that happens in the future. Okay, hand dyed yarns. Another thing I'm just going to briefly show you, I don't know if I mentioned it last time or not, my plan, I think I said I was planning on doing it, was to keep a journal this year of all the things that I have made. I haven't made my mind up yet. I think this is just going to be sort of yarny crafts. So this is just a plain orange notebook, and then I bought some stickers from Lana Boo. She had a sale the other week. So I love knitting. Enough yarn is not a thing, and crochet every day. And then I have been making a note of the things that I have made. There's no photos in here yet because I haven't got around to doing that yet. So I'm just samples of the yarns that have been used, a bit of washi tape that I like to use, and then just some notes, what the pattern is, what size needles or hooks I've used, when I started, when I'd finished, any alterations that I've made. So that was for the Ziggy jumper that I showed you last time. That was a crocheted jumper in purples and pinks. Then I've got a little list of the socks I made in January, so some photos to go in. That is a space for the cowl that I showed you earlier. So like I've put in here that I've done, yeah, extra length of 3 inches, extra cast on of an extra 20 stitches, 5mm needles. I should have looked in here and I would have known to tell you. This is the page, okay, and this is the page for the sun and soul wrap that I showed you. So that's the fade that I plan to go for. These are a little bit, so when I sewed all the ends in, I kept the ends because I don't have a record of who these dyers are. I thought it'd be nice just to keep a little bit of each yarn. And so like I've put here, that was a new technique of a picot bind off. Again, that needs a picture. That's the way I am planning on keeping a record of everything this year. So I've got a few things to add to there, and like I say, some photos to do. So that is just a brief look at the way that I am recording what I've been up to this year. Okay, that's that. Have a drink because I've waffled on and on. One very last thing to share with you all. As I have mentioned, tomorrow will mark 1 year on YouTube with the Hannah's Happy Space podcast. So I thought we'd best celebrate with maybe just a little giveaway. So I've got one thing to show you that will definitely be in the giveaway, but I will add some extra goodies to to the gift. So this is not, I don't know if I showed you the socks that I knit with this last time. Let's show you the yarn first. This is a yarn that I've done myself, called Wintry Showers, very apt for the weather we've got currently. So we've got different shades of blue, then we've got white sections with grey and blue speckles. So I'll show you, so that's 100 grams of 4-ply, 75% merino, 25% nylon, and knit into socks. Comes out like this. You've got this micro striping situation going on. Obviously, doesn't have to be made into socks, can be made into anything that you would use 4-ply for. So this is the main item in the giveaway. Like I said, I will add a few little extras in amongst that. So if you would like to be in with a chance of winning this lovely skein of yarn, I think what I would like you to do is to be a subscriber of the channel, then leave me a comment in the comments below telling me what one thing, just one thing, you really hope to or are planning to make in 2022, be it knitting or crochet, sewing, just one thing that you are hoping on making. Might introduce me to some new designers, new patterns, which is always great. That's what I'd like to do. Yeah, that's it. And we'll run the giveaway for about a month, I think. I've not got an exact date yet. In the next podcast, I will give you an exact date. We won't pick a winner then. It'll be the podcast after. Yes, so thank you so much for sticking with me this long. If you've been here that long, very good. Well done. Yeah, I honestly really hope you do enjoy what I'm up to and what I do. If you've ever got any what's the word, constructive comments for me, ways I can improve the podcast, ways that I can improve the channel, things that you might like me to talk about, or that you'd like to see, maybe not things that I've made recently, maybe are things I've made in the past, be it crochet or knitting or sewing, or if you've got any questions that you'd like me to answer on any of the following podcasts, that's always great. Anything that can help grow this little channel is always a good idea, I think. If you want to see a bit more of what I'm getting up to, then you can follow me over on Instagram at hannahs_happy_space. That link is in the box below. I'll put that in there with all of the other gubbins that I have been chatting about, be it patterns, yarns, all that kind of thing. Whew, okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, actually, one little thing you could do going over onto Instagram. I always post on Instagram when I put a podcast up. If you enjoy the podcast, if you watch the podcast, and you do follow me over on Instagram, if you could share in any way on your post or stories, share the podcast over there, that would be awesome as well. Okay, I think that's probably enough to be getting on with. You've sat and listened to me for long enough. Hopefully, like I say, you've enjoyed everything you've seen today. If you want to win the yarn and other bits and pieces, get that comment down in the box below. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, that's always helpful. If you have really liked it and you don't already, click that subscribe button, that's brilliant as well. So until I see you next time, stay safe with these storms and everything else that's going on around us, but stay safe and have fun, and I will see you all again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.